All right, Mr. D, let's talk about the kinds of fencing.
Okay.
Would you like to start with that?
Well, first you need to try to determine what you're trying to keep out.
Okay.
Or keep in. Whatever the case might be. But here in the Mid-South, probably the main critters that folks want to keep out of their garden or landscape are deer.
Yes.
Maybe rabbits if they have vegetable gardens. Maybe raccoons because they can create a lot of problems around the house. And you need different kinds of fences for all of these critters. Probably not, there's no one fence that would work for all of them, with maybe one exception.
Uh-oh.
No, it wouldn't work.
Oh, it wouldn't work?
The raccoons would get over it. The raccoons would get over it. What I was thinking,
All right.
a privacy fence that, like a lot of folks have a solid wooden privacy fence, that would might work for deer simply because they can't see on the other side of it. If it's tight enough where they can't see through there, you have overlapping wood or lapping wood. Because even though there may be something on the other side that smells real good, like a vegetable garden or something like that, they tend to since they can't see what's over there. Maybe they're thinking that there may be something dangerous over there, so they don't tend to jump the solid wooden fences, even though they're shorter than they could easily jump a 6-foot wooden fence. The deer can jump between 8 and 9 feet high.
Yes.
And they can jump probably 15, 20, sometimes 25 feet long.
Wow.
That wide a spread. Now they can't jump 8 or 9 feet high and 15 or 20 feet wide. They can't do that. They can either jump high or they can jump long.
Right.
So a wooden fence, a solid wooden fence in a landscape situation might do a pretty good job of keeping out deer. Rabbits can burrow under a wooden fence, so a combination of a wooden fence with woven wire or expanded wire sunk down from 3 to 6 inches into the ground, buried 3 to 6 inches in the ground, that combination would keep deer and rabbits out, and it would probably protect your garden. It wouldn't be cheap, it'd be pretty expensive, but that would probably do the trick for you. Now the raccoons could climb that. They would scramble up the top of that 6-foot wooden fence and jump over. So that would take care of deer and rabbit. That's pretty expensive. If you have a large garden or if you don't want to spend that much money, a real tall, either metal or poly. They have poly deer fencing that you can make 8 to 9 feet tall. They would need to be at least 8 feet tall. That would keep most of the deer out. But again, that's very expensive because you got to put posts and you got to do all that, and the posts have to be fairly close with that, a metal fence or a poly fence. Now, cheaper alternative, and this is one that we use out at Agri Center, and I even had to use it for the first time up at Murray State this year to keep rabbits and raccoons out of some of our plots, is electric fences. You can go to a farm supply store or probably any of the hardware stores have fairly cheap, just wire. It's a real thin wire, and you can use plastic fence posts that you push into the ground that are only like 30 inches tall. If you do that, for deer, you need at least 2 strands, in my opinion. The top strand about 30 inches tall, the lower strand about 15 inches tall. The lower strand will keep the little deer out, the fawns out, and the bigger strand will, the deer's gonna walk up there and stick their nose to it, probably. And it does a pretty good job, especially if you lean it out at about a 45-degree angle. And that's what we do at Agri Center, and it pretty much keeps most of the deer out of our plots out there. Now, you might get by with one strand about 30 inches tall. That would keep the big deer out. But the problem that I've seen with just one strand is that the fawns will walk underneath it, and then the mother's going to blow through there if she needs to, and she's going to tear your fence all to pieces.
Now, what about the raccoons, though?
Well, the raccoons, electric fence works most of the time for raccoons. You need a shorter fence. It needs to be ideally 2 strands, one about 6 inches off the ground and one about 12 inches off the ground.
Okay.
I've had success. We had some success. We kept raccoons out of sweet corn up in Murray State this year with 1 strand at about 12 inches off the ground, and it kept them out. And this is a planting where last year we had a 100% loss.
Wow.
Sweet corn. They ate every bit of it. and this year, as soon as we took the fence down, we took the fence down during harvest when we started harvesting it, and of course the harvest lasted a week or so. And as soon as we took the fence down, it was like,
yeah,
they were coming in, and we were getting some, and they were getting some, we were getting some, they were getting some.
Yeah.
But I think we out harvested them. But the electric fences work really well, and you might not have a power source.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Handy, like we don't have a power source at Agri Center or at Murray, so we use the solar powered chargers.
Okay.
And you can buy those at any place that sells fencing materials. And they're fairly inexpensive, and you have to charge them first, connect the batteries and then charge them. And for like 24 hours before you hook it up to the fence. And if you do that, pretty good little shot. If you don't believe me, just grab a hold of it. Yeah, you can grab it.
How do you maintain those electric fences, though? I mean, of course, you have to keep the grass from growing up around it.
The new generation chargers will shock through grass.
Oh, how about that?
The chargers will. Many of them will say that they'll shock, 10 miles of fence. And so they will, but it's better to keep the grass, and we use herbicides.
Okay.
We just spray herbicide Roundup under the electric fence. You can weed eat.
Right.
But if you don't worry, if you get some grass that gets up in it a little bit, it's still gonna run right through there. It'll shock right through there. So they have really improved in the past few years. But that's and you can if it happens to be in your backyard, you don't have to buy a charger. I mean, you don't have to buy a solar charger. They have chargers that you just plug into a 110 outlet, and they'll do the trick too. That is really probably better. You don't have to worry about it. You have a lot of cloudy days. Sometimes your solar power charger can get weak on you. But that's the cheapest route to go is with electric fences.
Electric fences. All right, appreciate that, Mr. D. It's good stuff.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.